Welcome back, guys and girls. Well, today's project is the fuel gauge for the old Ford tractor. It's a 6-volt positive ground system, and the gauge is not working, obviously. So I took it apart, hoping to find maybe one of those little wires down in there had broken loose, vibrated loose. They all look intact. What I did find, though, if you can see, is those wires are all black over there. And the way this gauge functions is electricity flows through that wrap of wires and heats up that piece of metal. On the opposite side, the same thing happens, and you can see the difference. Those are not cooked. And so when the electricity runs through there, heats it up, that piece of metal moves. And so this one moves this way, that one moves that way. And so basically they squeeze together like a pair of pliers. And when that happens, it moves your needle over. Well, here is where I want to give you guys a word of caution. If you have a 6-volt system and you need to jump start it, hey, I'll just put 12 volt on it and the starter will spin faster and it'll start right up. Yeah, it probably will. But if you're going to do that and it's a 6-volt system, you need to reach up under the hood and unhook the wire to this gauge. Because this is the only electrical gauge in the system. The oil pressure gauge is mechanical. Usually the temperature gauge for the coolant is mechanical. This is electric, and everything else will function with that 12-volt surge. But that's what happens when you put 12 volt through a 6-volt fuel gauge. And you don't want to try buying these. It's getting ridiculous. You can buy this exact replacement, although it's not a Stewart Warner gauge. But the cost of this gauge, you can buy every gauge in the tractor, including the tachometer, for less money than this one gauge costs. And if you buy the aftermarket replacement gauge that's 6-volt, you can't use the original fuel sender. So that's another $30 that you have to do the fuel sender. Now, if this was my tractor, I'd convert it to 12-volt. You can get a conversion kit for the alternator and the coil and stuff like that for about $180 plus tax and shipping. But this tractor has been in the same family for 50 years, and the owner wants to keep it as original as possible. So we are still running 6-volt positive ground system. But anyway, guys, that was just, like I said, a little word of warning. When you have old equipment, got to be careful when you shoot 12 volt to it to get it to start. Thanks for watching.